Alright, welcome back everyone. I'm Setharoth, and today we are exploring the mod known as Moonlight Tales. As you can see, this is a Werewolf overhaul mod. We're going to jump right into the good stuff. Growl gives us a wonderful 19 perks for enhancing your werewolf experience. Moonlight Tales gives you over 30. There's so many mods. They're beautiful. So many mods, so many perks. I love it. But one of the most unique features of Moonlight Tales is there are actually multiple kinds of roars. There's like 5 or 6. So we're going to go over those. And they're actually differentiated by elevation. You'll notice this one, Roar of the Predator, is activated by aiming towards the ground and roaring. And that one is just... And there we go. Detect living out to 400 feet. So this is particularly useful at night when you are doing your own business and hunting and it's dark and you're not sure where everything is. And I apparently suck the werewolf. Well, everyone here knows I'm more of a mage myself, but yeah. Anyway. So that is your detection roar. Just one more spell you won't have to try to somehow finagle to make work while you are in werewolf mode. I guess I should start with the first perk, which just gives you extra damage, extra health, and feedings will heal you by 40% of your total health. So if they're weak enough, you can keep feeding them while they attack you. Roar of the Pack. This is one of my favorite additions to Moonlight Tales. Aim it toward the sky and roar to activate. So we're going to try that right now. We have reinforcements. Perfect, because we have this nice, squishy, weak little mammoth. Run, run, don't get in close. Oh, okay, that went faster than I expected. We disappeared inside the mammoth. We went right into the intestinal tract. There we go. Cool. Let's see. So, oh wait, did we take something off? Somebody's attacking my ghosts. No, the ghosts are not part of Moonlight Tales. Don't get excited. It just made my life a little easier to be able to... Oh, jeez, that is a tough little... Oh, not so tough. Okay. Oh, can I not eat vampires? Oh, that's sad. I can eat everything else, though. That helps. Just trying to keep the blood rage going long enough to stay werewolf, long enough to show you all the cool shouts that you can get with this guy. Let's see, so let's get into a nice position for testing. This should be fine, and on with the show. So we'll start with the right hand side. We have Roar of the Predator. We've already seen that. It gives you detection. You also can get break entry, so you can tear open most locked chests and doors. Stuff that's locked for quest purposes, you still won't be able to get through that, obviously. But it does make it a little easier when you're in animal form, so you don't have to just sit there and wait after all the bad guys are dead for you to shapeshift back. We also have Hunter in the Night. In beast form, you can see clearly in the dark. Aim horizontally and sheath your claws to access the Night Eye ability. In human form, you gain the Hunter's Sense Lesser Power during the night. So that's just aiming horizontally and then the sheath button. For me, that gives us a couple of other options. We can either activate Night Eye. We can revert form, which is an interesting touch because when you start off at level 1, you can't actually change back at will. I didn't realize that for the longest time. Like, I wasted 10 minutes of my life going online thinking it was a bug of some kind. And then I also will get into the perk later, but there's a sweep attack that your basic attack will hit everything in front of you instead of one target. So you have the option of disabling that if you want to. So that's when you aim horizontally and roar. And then it changes the camera when you do that. But we're during the day, so Night Eye is kind of a moot point. We also have Roar of Terror. That is the traditional roar. Aim horizontally and roar to activate. That will sends them all running scared, which is always very helpful. Savage Feeding. Feeding now heals an additional amount for 15 seconds after you feed. It extends your bloodlust by 70%. But if you feed off creatures that are not human, this is one of the... I don't know if I want to call it a disadvantage, because the two mods are very distinct. In Growl, no matter what you eat, it's going to allow you to level up in your werewolfness. In Moonlight Tales, the idea is the god Hercene is literally using you to claim human souls for him, and that's when he lets you level up. In other words, you have to kill humanoids to level up. You can get a perk that allows you to feed off of wolves and undead and Daedra and all that other stuff, but unfortunately, you won't be leveling up during that time. So with this mod, if you run into a grove and kill a bear and a couple of wolves and eat them all, it doesn't contribute towards your leveling up, unfortunately. But I do like, from a RP standpoint, the idea that you're only rewarded for, I mean, Hircine is not, he's not a good god. He's not one of the divines, he's not one of the 9, and it makes sense that he'd only reward you for going after humans. So after Roar of the Pack, keep in mind Roar of the Pack actually gets stronger as you level up. You'll see a couple of perks later on to further enhance this. It goes from 2 wolves to 2 werewolves, which is about as much reinforcements as anyone should ever need. Full Moon Rising. This is a good one for RP. When the moons are active at night, your skills improve 20% faster. When the moons are full, once every 24 days, you gain 25% physical damage resistance in both beast and human form for the night. So I guess if you want to prep for that boss fight, you just go ahead and wait until the moon is full and then go to town. We also have Howl at the Moon. Let out a powerful howl, granting you heightened senses for 60 seconds, slowing down time during enemy power attacks. Aim towards the sky and sheath your claws to activate. So this one is a little tricky, but we're going to give it a shot. Because with this one, I need one of these bad guys to attempt a power attack.
Is someone there? Never.
And I just forgot which direction do I have to be. So aim towards the sky and sheath your claws. Okay, towards the sky. That is up higher.
Now ain't this a surprise?
There we go. Okay, now I need... Oh no, come on. Oh no, I need power attacks. Power attacks. Why are none of you power attacking me? Fine. I'll just feed on you one at a time then. Wow, I spawned all archers. This is the first time this has happened to me. This is just how some of my mod showcases work. But this is a good example of the point of leveling up your feeding skill so that the poor guys can't hurt you enough to actually stop you. Can you imagine how terrifying this would be? Like, you're hitting this thing with everything you have, 5 of you, and you're all, and he's like regenerating off of, no, I want you to be powered up. No, I don't want you to die. Get back up. I need to show your power attack slowing time thing. Oh, that's a new perk. I forgot about that one. We'll get into that one. Okay. No. Stop with the arrows. I need you to use your hammer. Hammer me. Alright, so this is a howl that I recommend using in a group or when you're a much higher level werewolf, because obviously if you have to slow down to do the howl and they're hitting you with more attacks, you're going to die fairly quickly. I was trying to show you guys more. Like, I summoned 5 more of them, and a mammoth came over and helped and killed them all. So I think that is the modding gods telling me you're going to have to experiment with that particular howl on your own, and we're just going to move on. Because, I mean, there's another, like, 30 perks that I need to show you guys. Alright, so once you get through this first batch, they all converge at Bestial Hide. At max level, you're looking at 15% physical resistance to damage, 30% magic resistance, and, oh, this is so helpful, you take 75% less fall damage in beast form. Summoned pack members also gain this effect. That is cool. So your entire pack gets stronger. I particularly like lesser fall damage because I'm one of those Skyrim guys that's like, oh yeah, I can survive this height, I'll be fine. And then you realized you forgot to save, and you lost an hour of your life because you thought you could land. And of course it'll be my mage, and it'll have slow fall like there in the spells. Like, he could have cast it before jumping, but I was like, nah, it should be fine, and it's not fine. Next, I really like Northern Pack, because now your Roar of the Pack ability calls Ice Wolves or Ice Werewolves with an additional 50% frost resistance. They also do an additional 30% damage. We're going to go ahead and clear out these 2 middle ones now. With the perk Bane of the Dead, your Roar of Terror now turns undead for 10 seconds, as well as humanoids, which is really nice. And then your Roar of the Predator and Hunter's Sense Now detect all creatures, even undead and automatons, with the Scent of Distinction perk, which is another one that's really helpful, depending on what you're up against. It takes a while, actually. I was surprised how high up the tree revert form is, because you've got to get through like 5 or 6 full perks before you can get here. But this does allow you to regain your human shape at will. You can aim horizontally and sheath your claws to access that menu that I showed you earlier, and that allows you to change back to human at will. But until then, you're going to be stomping around as a werewolf until it wears off, so keep that in mind. We also have Call of the Wild. When you're in human form, this is a lesser power that summons 2 wolf pack members for 60 seconds. I do like that Moonlight Tales gives you additional special abilities that you can use as a human that still have kind of a wolfish feel to them. Growl does give you some perks to your mortal form, but they don't really stand out as werewolf necessarily. Does that make sense? So this one is a lesser power that summons wolves, but like in Growl, you'll get additional movement speed, for example, or maybe you heal faster, which are still really nice. The extra movement speed in particular makes you an absolute god if you're running certain mods and spells and stacking those movement bonuses on top of each other. But it is nice to have a a roaring type ability or a wolf type ability while you're in human form. It kind of makes you feel like you're, I don't know, a part-time werewolf, off werewolf, a werewolf on during the day that can still do something. Endurance of the Wolf. Let's see what this does. Transforming into a beast now heals you to full health. Oh, that is cool. Oh no. Your werewolf form becomes an emergency heal. I love it. You're like an anime boss. The bad guys are like, oh, he's almost dead. We've got him. Life is good. And oh, now he's at full health. And he's bigger. And he's got claws. And he's tearing Jimmy to pieces. Oh, okay. Human form gains 100 points of bonus health and stamina, and unarmed attacks do 40 points of bonus damage. Whoo! So, let's see. Human, unarmed, 40 points of bonus damage. If you top that on top of, I think it's Argonians and Khajiits with Imperius's racial overhaul, you'll get another 10 or 20 points of bonus damage as well. So, basically turn into a werewolf Khajiit and just tear them to pieces, which is funny because you wouldn't think that cats and dogs would get along that well. Oh, I have problems. Alright, next perk was Juggernaut. Gain 100 armor rating in beast form. Sprinting into enemies knocks down most targets. Oh, you guys saw that with the bandit that went flying and had the green like paralysis magic on him earlier. So this is a fun one because when you're sprinting, sometimes it's hard to gauge the distance correctly. And it's nice to know that if you miss and you don't jump quite in time, you'll just barrel into them and they'll fly by bowling pins. I mean, how can you argue with that? We also have Feral Impulse. Attacks in beast form have a 20% chance of doing critical damage. Can't really argue with that. Bloodthirst. Attacks in beast form have a 20% chance to bleed enemies for 6 seconds. While bleeding, the target suffers 30% more damage from your attacks. That's damage on top of more damage. I can't really argue with that. The Beast Within. Oh, I love that. The sound of that perk. Very ominous. Oh, in human form, we get a new power. It deals double physical damage for 120 seconds. 1% chance to activate beast form when struck. Oh, interesting. Using this power reveals your true nature, obviously, to those around you, possibly turning them hostile. Fades in beast form. That's an interesting one, because, I mean, obviously double damage in human form is fantastic. But you also have to be careful if you can just change on a dime. Like, I don't know. Knowing my luck, it would be like disengaging from a group or just running past a bandit camp I don't care about, and then getting shot by an arrow 200 feet away and shapeshifting in front of like a traveling pack of Stormcloak soldiers or something. That's how my luck would usually go. But I do love the RP for it because it makes sense that this beast form is this wild, savage thing, and there will be a day or two when it's not fully under your control. That makes sense. We also have Feral Rage. Deal 20% more damage with each consecutive hit at the cost of slowly draining your health. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Can stack up to 10 times and is disabled below 30% health. That's nice, so you don't drain yourself straight to death. Hold down the Roar of Terror for more than a second to activate or deactivate. So you just tap the Roar at horizontal for the detection. No, not for detection. Oh, to access the menu. And then you hold it down if you want to activate Feral Rage, which will do more damage, but you slowly take more damage over time. but it can stack up to 10 times. Which means if you, oh geez, that means if you Feral Rage 5 times in a row, you're dealing twice as much damage. I mean, I guess as long as you have enough victims to feed on and you keep healing yourself, then it's not really that big a deal. So that could work out nicely. Which might explain why the next perk here is called Rejuvenation. Draw on the power of the moons to heal yourself to full health over 5 seconds. Can only be used once per transformation. That's a good balance. Hold down the Roar of the Predator for more than a second to activate. So one of the things that I really like about this mod is the modder really took the howling mechanics of the werewolf and asked himself, like, how many different kinds of howls can I shove in here to give your wolf more options, right? To give you detection, regeneration, stun, all sorts of stuff, which is really nice because a lot of times with these monster forms you get kind of painted into a corner. For example, in the Undeath mod, I tried the Ascension. I think it's called Ascent. There's 2 different expansions. I really like Classical Lichdom, and then there's another one I think was called Ascension. And the Ascension mod for Undeath gives you a couple of spells and stuff when you become a lich, but you can't access like your full spell menu, and that always kind of bugged me because I felt like if I was a lich form, the most powerful conjurer or magic user ever that I've beaten death and are now immortal, it just made sense to me that I would therefore have all of my spells. So I like the idea of a monster form that is versatile and can fulfill multiple functions, and Moonlight Tales certainly does a good job of that. We also have Dragonbane, which is obviously a... You're playing Skyrim, you're gonna fight dragons, you're gonna need this perk. Hold down Roar of the Pack, so you aim into the sky and roar for more than a second, and then any dragons within 200 feet are forced to land, which is really nice, but keep in mind exactly how far down the perk tree you have to go before you can be scary enough to force dragons to come fight you. And last but not least, we have Aspect of Hircine. Hircine acknowledges you as his chosen hunter. Power attacks in beast form hit all targets in front of you. This is where that sweep damage comes into effect. And now feeding heals by 50% of your total health. So that is a whole slew of perks for anyone wanting to delve into a deeper, more RP-based werewolf experience. Lastly, to wrap things up, I'm going to show you guys some of the controls. I'm pretty sure for this I won't actually need to be in werewolf form, so we're going to risk it and switch back to human. Now there's a number of settings that you can use with this mod depending on how you want to set up the smaller features. The easiest way to access them is called the Ancient Ring. You just have to have it in your inventory and then activate it to open the menu, right? So you have like your general settings. Wolfkin Alliance is a cool setting. Wolves and similar creatures will actually be friendly to you, particularly when you're in werewolf mode. So it's fun. It was weird for me when I first tried out this mod because I'm stomping around the forests of Whiterun and I see a wolf and I'm like, oh, okay, it's on. And the wolf just like walked past me like, hey, Charlie, how's it going? I was like, oh, he's my friend. And then I was fighting bandits and wolves came in to help me. Not wolves that I summoned, just wolves that randomly spawned there. I was like, oh, I'm friends of the wolves. This is nice. So I do really approve of that particular addition to the werewolf experience. I think that makes so much sense. Depending on if you're having glitches in the custom animations, you can turn those on and off, which depending on your system could be very helpful. Same thing for the animation when you're being staggered. And the question of whether or not, I think that's enemy werewolves giving loot, but don't quote me on that. Let's see, so we have, oh, I want to go back. There we go. So we have general settings, and then you have combat settings. The way that Moonlight Tales is balanced is you can tell it which difficulty of the game you're on, and then it will adjust your werewolf statistics accordingly to try and keep things balanced, which is a nice addition, I think. Let's see, that's combat settings. You can also tweak the knockback cooldown. With that one, I think you can only be knocked down once within like a 10 or 15 second period. So it gives you kind of a fighting chance if you're dealing with multiple things that can knock you down. Changing the difficulty, I think we already looked at that. So general settings, combat settings, and difficulty scale. Yep, that's it. Okay, now there is one other, I think there was one other thing we can change. If we go to the mod configuration for Moonlight Tales. This is where we can activate. You can also change a lot of the settings here in the menu, depending on what feels more convenient to you. And this is la pièce de résistance, is the werewolf appearance. There are a lot of different werewolf forms you can take that are based on either animalistic qualities or even your starting race. And I don't have time to go through all of them. If you really want to see them all, ask for a deep dive and I will show you all of them, but they are fantastically done. They're some of them are very colorful, some of them are super creepy. Most of them have glowing eyes. The only catch is, in order to switch to a new one, you switch and then exit the menu, and then you have to wait for your beast power to reset. Notice I can't take my beast form yet. It comes back once a day. So this is another one of those differences with Growl, because Growl puts it on like a 90-second timer, and then you can go back into your beast form almost at will. But with Moonlight Tales, you got one shot, and then you need the D&D equivalent of a long rest to get your beast form back and then change again. So that's another important distinction. Another thing you'll notice between Growl and Moonlight Tales, with Growl, you'll notice that when we're feeding on these guys, your skills actually go up. Your one-handed goes up. Your light armor goes up. So it allows you to actually level up as a player while you're in your beast form. And then with Moonlight Tales, it doesn't do that. You don't level up while you're a werewolf. The perks that you're unlocking as the werewolf are the leveling up. So it's an important distinction, particularly if you're going werewolf at a lower level, right? So if I'm a low level, level 2, and I unlock the werewolf because that's the kind of playthrough I want, and the only times I'm in combat I'm in werewolf form, then I'm never going to level up, which can be a problem. I guess one way around that is if you were using the experience mod, which would then allow you to gain experience less by combat and leveling up your skills, and more by unlocking new locations, completing quests, reading books, that kind of thing. Other than that, I believe that is everything that I was going to show you guys with the werewolf experience of Moonlight Tales. I guess I can throw in... Oh, there is one other thing that I can show you guys. It's a good thing this Redguard has unlimited stamina. There's another mod that I picked up that is a patch that goes on to along Moonlight Tales. I don't think it will work in Growl because it was specifically made for Moonlight Tales. But you'll notice some of these bodies that I fed upon turned into skeletons, which I think is super immersive. Like, I remember when I was doing the Growl video and I'm just eating body after body after body, and they just look a little like bloody, but they don't really look like they've been consumed. I remember that the immersive player in me was like, it's not quite right, but you know what? It's an amazing mod and I'm not going to complain. Well, someone complained enough to create this little monstrosity, and now when you consume things as a werewolf, they look like they've been consumed, which just is fantastic. And you'll notice the skeleton is actually in the same pose as he was when he fell before he was eaten, so it's very immersive to me. It's one of the other perks of this particular load order that I really like, and that's just a patch you can get for Moonlight Tales. I will say that to install Moonlight Tales required more patches, because it is an older mod and comes with a couple other tweaks that you can make through patches, which I think works out. I mean, I didn't have any trouble with bugs once I loaded it in, but just keep in mind that there will be a couple of other mods that you'll have to add in little patches and tweaks and that kind of thing to make sure that it runs 100%. All right, and with that, I think we will wrap up this showcase for Moonlight Tales. Highly recommended. Fantastic version of the werewolf experience, particularly if you're trying to role play more of the werewolf experience rather than just grabbing like the combat modes of it. I guess Growl would be better if you're trying to power level the combat side of the werewolf, because you can still level up your attack and your defensive skills while you're a werewolf. But Moonlight Tales does do a great job of adding in more variety to your werewolf experience, which I highly recommend you try. With that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video so far. Let me know down below what your favorite howl from Moonlight Tales is. Feel free to like my video and subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.